What's good, y'all? First and foremost, happy Thanksgiving. I hope y'all been eating good, because I for sure been going crazy with the plates. But anyways, before we get to the video, I just wanted to say I'm thankful for y'all, and I appreciate y'all, and I'm grateful for y'all's support. Let's get to it. So the Warriors are 12-6 after dropping 3 straight games. First and foremost, let's check in with some of their key stats and see how they're doing real quick. So it looks like the Warriors' offensive rating has dropped off these past few weeks. They're still top 10, but now they're 9th with a 114.4 offensive rating. And Buddy Hield's struggles these last 10 games has a lot to do with their offensive rating dropping. In the first 8 games of the season, he's a 22 point per game scorer on ridiculous efficiency, shooting over 50% from 3. And look, I can't blame Buddy. He's a role player. I mean, did we honestly expect him to average 20 points per game for the entire season? He's not that level of player. Now, he can play at that level for stretches throughout the season, and when he does, the Warriors look pretty damn scary. But it's no surprise that him struggling offensively has a direct correlation with the Warriors' offensive rating going down. While I don't expect Buddy to get back to averaging 21 points per game on ridiculous efficiency, he does need to play better. And when he does, that's going to help this Warriors offense a lot, because the Warriors offense has gotten really stale at times. But as long as you're top 10, that's still a great sign, especially when you consider the fact that the Warriors are leaning defense heavy this year. Speaking of defense, the Warriors are still top 5 in defense, coming in at 5th. We got OKC still first in defensive rating with a 102.8. We got Houston coming in at 2nd with a 103.7. Orlando's 3rd with a 105. The Clippers are 4th with a 107.2. And Golden State's 5th with a 107.4. My prediction preseason was top 4. So even though they've been struggling as of late, especially offensively, their defense is something they can fall back on. Although, losing a very good point of attack defender in D'Anthony Melton does hurt, which has forced them to play Lenny Waters a lot more, who's not exactly a great defender. He's pretty solid, but in the starting lineup, he seems overmatched at times. In a few of these matchups lately, he has gotten cooked. But anyways, moving on. The Warriors are 6th in net rating. OKC's 1st with a 10.8 net rating. Boston's 2nd with a 10.5. Cleveland's 3rd with a 9.2. Houston has an 8.4 and 4th. Memphis is surprisingly 5th with a 7.7. And Golden State rounds out the top 6 with a +7 net rating. Now, obviously, yes, the Warriors dropped a little bit, and some of these names are honestly surprising. Houston and Memphis with a better net rating. Here's another stat for you. The Warriors are 2nd in the league in rebounds per game. Yeah. 2nd, and they're 8th in rebound percentage. In their 2022 championship season, I believe they're the best rebounding team in the league. And if they weren't the best, they were definitely top 3. The Warriors have done a great job these past few seasons of preaching game rebounding. The bigger players that are still undersized for their position, guys like Draymond, TJD, when they can't secure the rebound themselves, they do a good job of tapping into a teammate. And then you got the Loon Dog off the bench, who's a rebounding machine, bro. Yo, Looney would check in, play like 15 minutes and have like 9 boards, bruh. Like it's honestly crazy. Like Looney's a monster on the boards. Outside of Andre Drummond, Looney has to be one of the best rebounders in the league on a permanent basis. Yo, I just looked it up. This dude Looney, bro. Yo, Looney averages 19 rebounds per game per 36 minutes. 9.7 defensive rebounds and 9.1 offensive rebounds. Yo, this dude is a menace, bro. What the hell? Yo, Looney has a 25% offensive rebound rate. Do y'all understand how crazy that is? Every time a shot is missed, when Looney's on the court, he's grabbing the ball 1 out of every 4 times. That's crazy, bro. Yo, shout out to Kevon Looney, man. Yo, check this out. If you've been thinking about playing fantasy basketball, sign up for Underdog with your boy Holly. Use my code down low at Holly415 and join your boy, man. I've been having a lot of fun on fantasy this season, and I've been cooking my parlays. So if you want to get in on this action with your boy, I'm telling you, don't miss out. And by the way, Underdog is going to match your first deposit up to $1,000. Yeah, that's right. Whatever your first deposit is, up to $1,000, Underdog is gonna match it. So if you put in 50, Underdog puts in 50. If you put in 100, Underdog puts in 100. If you put in 1,000, Underdog is gonna put in 1,000, bro. Free money to play with sounds like fun to me. I'm just saying. But with that being said, sign up using my link at Holly415, and I'll see you there. All right, now let's talk about some trade rumors. Should the Warriors trade for Nikola Vucevic? That's a tough one. I ain't gonna lie. Let's look up Vucevic's stats real quick. Vucevic is averaging 20.4 points per game, 10 rebounds, and 3.3 assists. He's shooting 57% from the field, attempting 4.5 threes a game, shooting 45%. That's pretty good, bro. For a center, that's pretty good. He has a 64% effective field goal percentage and a 66 true shooting. Yeah, Vucevic is having one of his better seasons. All right, before we get to the defense, let's just talk about the offense real quick. He's a 20-point per game scoring center. Now, obviously on the Warriors, he ain't scoring 20 points per game. He might be somewhere around 14, 15. Some nights he might be up around 17. Some nights he'll be down around 11. But he definitely won't be featured as much offensively on the Warriors. But anyways, think about this. A 6'10", 260-pound center who's a legit stretch 5. He's getting up 4.5 threes per game on 45% shooting. I think that will make him the best stretch 5 the Warriors have ever had. So you're getting that spacing from the 5. He's also a good post player, capable of scoring from the inside, the mid-range, out to the 3-point line. He's also a pretty solid passer and decision maker. 3.3 assists to 1.9 turnovers ain't too bad for a center. He will be a seamless fit in the Warriors offense as a passing hub that's also a threat to score. And offensively, I think the biggest asset he brings to this team is that he would unlock Jonathan Kuminga. Putting a legit stretch 5 in the starting lineup next to Draymond allows you to play Kuminga in the starting lineup as well. We're looking at a potential lineup of Steph, Wiggins at the 2, Kuminga at the 3, Draymond at the 4, and Vucevic at the 5. In my opinion, with the addition of Vucevic, that's adequate spacing to play Kuminga at the 3. Wiggins is shooting 40% from 3 this season. Shout out to Wiggins. Draymond's shooting the ball pretty well, especially from the corners where apparently he's Robert Horry. And then you add Vucevic, who's shooting 45% this season. That should open up a lot of driving lanes for Kuminga. Think about the difference in spacing with Kuminga playing next to TJD versus Vucevic. With TJD, he's not attempting a shot outside of 3 feet, so naturally he's going to camp around the rim. Well, when you got Kuminga, who's your best slasher trying to get to the rim, TJD's defender is going to be camping under the rim every time. And then you got Draymond, who although is shooting the ball well, teams are still going to sag off him. So it's a lot of clunkiness with a Draymond, TJD, Kuminga frontcourt, which makes it hard to play them all together. But with Vucevic, defenders have to account for him. His pick and pop from 3 is dangerous. That center matchup has no choice but to play him tight. And if they do decide to sag off, imagine a Vucevic Curry pick and pop. They making somebody pay. Like somebody's getting that 3 off. If teams are going to sell out on Steph and not account for Vucevic, he's going to have wide open warm-up 3s all game. I can honestly see that Curry-Vucevic 2-man game being pretty deadly. And then you got Wiggins and Kuminga on the wings with more space to cut. Offensively, I like it. Unlocking Kuminga's offensive game by itself will make this trade worth it. The Warriors' upside as a team is in Kuminga being featured more and being a Warriors' go-to second option. With a stretch 5 in the lineup and more space to operate, I can see Kuminga eating on this team. Now for the downsides. Vucevic is a terrible defender. He's slow-footed, he's 34 years old. He can only play in drop coverage defensive schemes because he doesn't have the mobility to get on the perimeter and defend. Vucevic playing heavy minutes, although will help the Warriors' offense tremendously, will definitely compromise their defense. So it would definitely be a balancing act. Now here's the other downside. Based off his contract, the only way this trade is going to work is if the Warriors package Melton and Looney. DeAnthony Melton being included as salary filler is a no-brainer. Looney, man, his defense and rebounding has been essential for his team. His importance to the locker room with his veteran leadership is underrated. Yes, Vucevic is a much better offensive player than Looney, but Looney's a much better defensive player than Vucevic. Now it is a way to make this trade work without giving up Looney, but it would cost him GP2. And after losing Melton, I really don't want to trade GP2 unless I'm getting back another defender in return. The Warriors are already down one of their 3 best point of attack defenders. Trading one of the other 3 is tough, man. And Wiggins can't guard everybody. While you can argue Vucevic is a better player in a vacuum than Looney and GP2, with the way this Warriors team is built, losing either one of them is tough, man. So I honestly don't know if I make this trade, but I do think it's interesting enough to be worth mentioning. Let's look at the potential Warriors depth chart with Vucevic, and y'all tell me if y'all make this trade. Your starting 5, Curry, Wiggins, Kuminga, Draymond, and Vucevic. You got Paz and Spencer behind Steph at the point. You got Buddy and Lindy Waters playing behind Wiggins. You got GP2 and Moody playing behind Kuminga. You got Kyle Anderson behind Draymond, and you got TJD behind Vucevic. Now, obviously in this trade scenario, the Warriors are giving up Looney. Let's peep that front court real quick. So you got Draymond, Vucevic, Kyle Anderson, and TJD. That's essentially your big man rotation. So you got Vucevic, who's not a good defender, but he's giving you great offense and floor spacing. You got TJD, who's your athletic rim runner and play finisher. You got Kyle Anderson, who's basically a discount Draymond, capable of giving you some playmaking, some defense, some ball handling. And then you got Draymond, who's your fastball at the end of games when you go small. That's a pretty solid, healthy stable of bigs. Obviously, losing Looney's gonna hurt though. So y'all let me know in the comments if this trade-off is worth it. All right, moving on. Let's talk about DiVincenzo. So the T-Wolves have been struggling, and the report is that Dante isn't too happy with his new role in Minnesota. All right, so first of all, here's the thing. I would love to have Dante back, but I don't see why the T-Wolves would trade him to the Warriors, a direct competitor in the Western Conference. I just don't see it. Here's the other problem. If the T-Wolves were willing to trade Dante to the Warriors, they're not gonna want Melton. They're going to want a player that can play because they're still trying to compete for a championship. By the way, side note, let me clear this up real quick. So I see a few of y'all in the comments saying, well, why would anyone want to trade for Melton? He's injured. All right, here's the thing. They're not looking at it as a player to get back to contribute. They're looking at his contract as a tool to get back assets attached to him. Melton's on an expiring contract, which means there's no obligation to pay him after the season. So let's just say, for example, the Warriors trade DeAnthony Melton to the Brooklyn Nets for Dorian Finney-Smith. So the thought for some of y'all is, well, why would the Nets trade Dorian Finney-Smith for an injured DeAnthony Melton who can't play this season? Here's the thing. They're not trading Dorian Finney-Smith for DeAnthony Melton. They're trading Dorian Finney-Smith for the assets attached to DeAnthony Melton. The trade wouldn't be DeAnthony Melton for Dorian Finney-Smith straight up. The trade would be DeAnthony Melton plus draft assets, aka a first-round pick, second-round picks for Dorian Finney-Smith. And since Melton's an expiring contract, the trade is essentially Dorian Finney-Smith for first-round picks. But salary cap-wise, the Nets can't just trade Dorian Finney-Smith for draft picks. They have to receive salary in return, which is why DeAnthony Melton on an expiring contract is a tool for teams to receive the draft assets. Yeah, they're paying D'Anthony Melton's salary for this season not to play. But you have to think about that as a price of doing business and receiving draft assets, which plenty of teams would gladly do, especially a team like the Brooklyn Nets who aren't going anywhere this season. They're not winning anything. All right, you got Melton on the books for 1 season, and then after that, you have no financial obligation to him. And in return, you got a first-round pick, maybe 2. So now that that's cleared up, the T-Wolves are in a different position than the Brooklyn Nets. They're not going to want Melton because he can't contribute, because the T-Wolves are looking to compete. They want a player back that can play. Now, is that player GB2? Do they want Kyle Anderson back? I don't know, but Dante makes about $11 million per year, which means the 3 contracts that are close enough to make something work is GP2, Kyle Anderson, and Kevon Looney. And then obviously the Warriors gonna have to attach draft capital. So if the trade is Dante for GP2, the Warriors gonna have to attach 2 first-round picks. But anyways, you get the idea. Now it comes down to would I make these trades. If it was Dante for GP2, I don't know, bro. Dante's a better player, don't get me wrong, but the Warriors are losing a lot defensively if they trade their other point of attack defender. And while Dante's a solid defender, he's not an elite point of attack defender like GP2. Now the trade-off is that Dante's a world's better offensive player. Honestly, I'd probably just make the trade, to be honest with you. Dante's having a bad year in Minnesota, but if you look at what he was last year with the Knicks, he was legit like a top 15 shooting guard. Like, he was really good. He improved as a player after he left Golden State. After Steph took him under his wing in Golden State and gave him pointers, his shooting with the Knicks just took off. The T-Wolves' offensive scheme probably just ain't for him, but we know for a fact he fits with the Warriors. If the Warriors could trade for Dante and get that production he was giving New York, yo, I'm making that trade. If it was Dante for Kyle Anderson, first of all, I don't even know if the T-Wolves would want Kyle Anderson back, but if they did, that's tough. Trading a 6'9" body that can play on the perimeter and in the front court, for this team, that's extremely valuable. So that would be a tough trade, even though Dante's a better player. And then Dante for Looney, trading a big man for another guard on this team that's already needs some front court help. It's a tough sell, bruh. I would only pull the trigger on this Looney trade if the Warriors made a second trade for a big man to bring in to replace Looney. I don't know, man. It's a lot of possibilities, but y'all let me know in the comments how y'all feel about Dante DiVincenzo, and would you make any of these trades? Anyways, that's all I got for y'all. If I entertained you or you learned something new, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. I'll hot you on the next one.